Right. Hello everyone. I don't know how you came across this video, but anyway, since you came across it, welcome to my YouTube channel. I would start by introducing myself. I am a trader. Um, not an. I am an intermediate trader. I am not a beginner. I'm an intermediate trader, and the reason why I'm doing this, I'm basically trying to journal my trades and also try to journal my trading journey. I basically want to evaluate myself, how far can I get, and I see maybe I can impact someone. I don't know, but yeah, I'm basically doing this so that I can be able to monitor myself, rather, if there is any growth in my trading life or maybe not. Yeah, so welcome. I intend to keep this video as short as possible, so thank you for tuning in, and yeah, let's get started. So as I said, I am an intermediate trader. I trade a variation of supply and demand strategy. That is my strategy. I basically trade supply and demand. I know if you're not a beginner trader, you know there are a lot of strategies that exist, whether it is order flow, ICT, support and resistance, a lot of strategies, and I know different people have different testaments to their strategies, and yeah, but mine I intend to just keep it simple and just trying to see if I can get an edge with this simple strategy. So I basically trade supply and demand. You basically know what supply and demand is. These are basically best zones for price, whether we want to long our market or we want to short it. Best place to short our market from is the supply zone, and best place to uh, go long in your market is basically a demand zone. So this is basically a zone of unfilled orders where we want the market to come back and fill the pending orders that were there, and then we proceed to continue with our direction. So the most important one of the most important things to consider in supply and demand is the trend. We want to see where is our market, how is our market trending, how is it, are we in a bearish trend, or are we in a bullish trend? So that really matters a lot, and I mean, trend analysis is king, and honestly, that forms the basis of any particular strategy that is there. So yeah, so that also forms part and parcel of what uh, my my mode of trading is. So I consider the trend. I also look at liquidity and also the supply and demand zone, which more or less I'd say they're the core of my strategy. And then yeah, plus a set of particular rules that I'll be hoping to share, as maybe in this video or perhaps in the future videos. Yeah, so I'll just give a very brief rundown of how I trade. Basically, I'll give an example with maybe a buy position. Uh, so, for instance, we have a market here that is downtrending. I am sorry, these are not the best of illustrations there, and I hope maybe I'll do better in the next. So, just have to bear with me on that. So we have a market here that is downtrending, and then on this last area here, we have our demand zone being created, and we have basically these are demand zones that are normally created here. The last bearish candle before a strong bullish momentum, and the vice versa for a supply zone is also correct. So for this purpose, I'll use a demand zone for demonstration purposes. So if this is our demand zone here that has been created, I look at the trend. So we were basically downtrending, but then I tend to see a break we see a change of character over here. We are basically downtrending. As you can see, this lower high here has been broken by this, so we have creation now of a new higher high. And sometimes it might be fake outs, so we have to wait for maybe a confirmation to it. So we have this lower high being taken by this, and then the market it comes back down. It doesn't tap into our zone, hence creating a liquidity. And basically a liquidity, this is a zone where many people place their stop losses. And as you can see, as you know, rather, if you've not known, price normally moves hunting for this what you call liquidity. So once we have our liquidity zone over here created, this liquidity is gonna break its own high. This is the high of this particular liquidity. Once we have this break of this, we have this break of structure, we now have a confirmation that we have truly changed direction. We are no longer downtrending, but rather we are now going upwards, or rather we are uptrending. So what do we do next? We wait for price to come back to our zone, tap into our zone, and that is where we now get into our market and try to see how we can benefit from it. So yeah, that's a rough idea of how I trade, and maybe I'll just try to show you in the examples that how I traded in this particular week. So I mostly trade indices. This was Nasdaq, S&P 500, US 30, and sometimes I trade German, that is the DAX, and also UK 100 at times. But Nasdaq is my Nasdaq US 30 and S&P 500, and I normally trade between 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. East African time. So I'm able to get a mix of both London and New York sessions. Yeah, so let's get right into it. So I'll basically walk you through the trades that I took this week, and yeah, that was my intention in the first place. So yeah, let's get into it. So we come to Monday. Let me try to be quick here. Well, let me pause. Alright, I have found the particular trade that I took on Monday. As you can see, we were in a downtrend here. This was basically we didn't have a change. We didn't have a change in market structure. We were basically confirming rather we were having a continuation in the trend. So we had this supply zone over here that was formed, and the market downtrended. We formed this liquidity, however small it might be. This is a very valid liquidity zone because we have two up close candles, or rather two bullish candles, at least two bullish candles here, and then we had this last bearish candle, and this served or rather formed our liquidity zone. So this is the zone that we are interested in. We want to see this zone being grabbed, and then now we get into the market. So we basically just don't trade supply and demand, where once the price taps into this zone, we get in. I know maybe there are people who do trade that, but I do not trade it like that. So we had this liquidity zone formed. The liquidity came, it grabbed its own low. However, the market is not perfect, but I'll try to maybe show you a perfect one. So we downtrended, and then as you can see here, what happened? The market came back, it grabbed its liquidity. Once we have this liquidity grab, what do? We wait for the price to come and tap into our zone, and we get into the market on directional close. So the market came, as you can see, with this bullish candle, it tapped, and then we had this bearish candle as well. We tapped there, and on the directional close, we got in, having our stop loss over there, and the trade got into this trade, and after some time. After some time, we had our TP smashed, and this was a good trade. And got a 1 to 4. I normally risk. If I currently I'm still in my Profam challenge. I am in drawdown, so I normally risk 0.5% of my account. And if at all I happen to go, or rather I come to profit, now I can be able to maybe risk 1%. I normally do not risk more than 1% of my account, so that is part of my just my risk management strategies. So here I was able to get 1 to 4 by risking 0.5% of my account. So I was up. That was a good trade, and that was Monday. That was the only trade that I took. So for Tuesday, I did not take any particular trade. I normally do not trade. The reason why I did not take any trade was because we had economic events happening, and I think on Tuesday we did have CPI, as you can see, consumer price index data, and I normally try to avoid economic events. I normally do not trade. Maybe you have people who do trade, and that is just fine with them. So Wednesday we had also this setup over here. As you can see, we have our demand zone. The price came down, created our liquidity. It took its own high over here. We went in an uptrend. We grabbed this liquidity, got into our zone, and we had a directional close. So I got into this trade, but unfortunately this trade did not hit my TP, or rather I did not hit profit. I got stopped out, and the reason why, well, I can't tell the reason why I was stopped out, but this is a trade that I would have easily avoided, because this was on Wednesday and we still had other economic events affecting the US dollar. I think we had PPI news, which I had not seen prior to me starting my trading day. So these are loss that I could have avoided, but yeah, it is what it is. That was on Wednesday. Yes, so that was on Wednesday. On Thursday, I did not take any trade, but I missed this trade, and I really missed it in a funny way. As you can see, this was another trade that is a continuation of our direction. Uh, as you can see, we have our supply zone over here that is created this high. You see, we came down, we came back up, created this liquidity zone over here. Let me just try to draw it. I'm sorry, as I said, you'll have to forgive my drawings. They're not the perfect of drawings, but yeah, I'll just try my best. We had this liquidity zone over here. So what normally happens once you have this zone over here, we just wait for it to be grabbed, and then we get into a directional close. So as you can see, we had this zone created. It broke its own low over here. It downtrended, then the market came back up, and as you can see, it tapped into a zone, and then we had a directional close. So the reason why I did not take this trade, I kind of felt the candle had closed way far, and I think I don't know, I feared, yeah. But yeah, as you can see, it's a trade that yielded, getting onto a directional close with my stop loss below this candle over here, below that wick, targeting a 1 to 3 with that kind of this old peepage. I can maybe the much I can get, I can risk, rather the much I can aim for my TP is a 1 to 3. So as you can see, this would have been a hit for me, but it's a missed trade, and yeah, I don't count it. It's just an opportunity that I saw, and some of these opportunities are the things that kind of builds confidence in my strategy. Yeah, so that was a missed trade. Yeah, and then that was on Thursday. And then on Friday, I took two trades. My first trade was on UK 500, UK 100, and this is a trade that I could have easily avoided. And the reason, I'll let you know what the reason is. So we have this supply zone over here formed, and maybe later on I'll teach you about accuracy zones and why I do consider them. So we had this zone over here formed. We came downtrended. We had this zone as our liquidity. This low over here was grabbed by this zone, so it was pretty much we're basically waiting for price to come and fill this, and then we downtrend. So as you can see, the price came, it came back to our zone, it rejected. This is the kind of rejection that you normally want to see. And then uh, I was not really patient with this candle closure, because normally I would not enter in when a candle has closed in an, as you can see, this is an indecision candle. This is not a bearish candle that I can say that we have confidence in it. So I got into this trade, and pretty much within less than 5 minutes I was stopped out. So yeah, that's a lesson to learn for me. That's a lesson for me to learn. Yeah, so I was stopped out, and I was down. I lost that uh, 0.5%. So this is a trade that I did not take, but if at all I would have taken this trade, maybe, yeah, I would have been stopped. It's a setup that I saw, and I saw when it had already moved. So I normally do not chase after setups. Once it has moved away from me and I'm not able to catch it, I just let it go, because the market will present much more opportunities. So on to my second trade. Sorry, I took it on S&P 500. Yeah, this is the trade that I took, and it was basically a sales trade. This was a short that I took. As you can see, we have supply zone over here. Now this is basically now a mechanical strategy, and with time, you just, once you identify, you just don't need to do it, just have to wait for it. We have our liquidity over here, liquidity over here. We have our supply zone over there. This liquidity is what we wait for it to be grabbed, but first, before it is grabbed, we have to see it take its own low over here. So this low was grabbed, giving us confidence that we are still continuing with our trend. Then it came back, it grabbed this liquidity over here, tapped into our zone, and pretty much this was our entry point. And I yeah, I did not get into the, I did not enter at this exact closure, but I got in on the closure of that one, putting my stop loss, as you can see, a little bit tighter there, and aimed for a 1 2 3, as you can see. And with the soonest, the 1 2 3 was hit. And yeah, that was my last trade of the week. I had 4 trades, 2 wins and 2 losses. Yeah, so yeah, that is how my week has been, and I hope to be doing this. And I know that this is not the best of the videos. I really don't know about the quality in terms of sound and video, but yeah, I hope maybe if there is someone learning out of it, I hope maybe you get something out of it. Yeah, so thank you very much, and yeah, peace out.